The court says only the House can declare a seat vacant over a defection, and not the governor of a state. Not even the court can do so. Now, to show
seat of 25 defected members of the Rivers State Assembly vacant. This House received correspondence, notices, and publications, including letters from 25 members of the Rivers State House of Assembly of their former defection from the People's Democratic Party to the All Progressive Congress. We are aware that there is no division or crisis in our great party, the People's Democratic Party. Consequently, distinguished colleagues, the House, having deliberated formally on the motion before it in line with our standing order and the Constitution of 1999 of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended, I hereby declare the seats of the following honorable members of the Rivers State House of Assembly vacant.
Thank you so much. I welcome you to Apostolic Insight. I'm your brother, so it's very great. This should sound like a breaking news, and it's so important that we all celebrate this intervention from heaven. God has spoken. He has given direction on what to do to restore lasting peace in Rivers State. To restore lasting peace. You see, it is so simple. The commissioner, the attorney general and commissioner for justice in Rivers State is just directed by heaven to take a very simple action, and in a matter of hours, Rivers State crisis will be over permanently. Very simple action. That's why we need to share this video. Let it get to the commissioner, let it get to the government and people of Rivers State. Very simple action. The commissioner, the attorney general and commissioner for justice in Rivers State must carry out immediately, no waste of time, and the problem in Rivers State will be over permanently. In line with the Supreme Court decision, the commissioner will follow that same Supreme Court decision and just take one simple action. Rivers State crisis will be over permanently, and Sim Fubara will secure his position as governor of Rivers State and govern Rivers State without anybody disturbing his peace. Can you see why we should be serious with the ministration that came from heaven? You see, the Supreme Court were doing, it's like they were out to pay their bill. So they were doing a very crafty work. By the ruling of the Supreme Court, the 62-page document of the certified true copy, if you drag these 5 Supreme Court justices to National Judicial Council, they will escape. They will not be found wanting in one way. They will just technically wriggle out, because there is a particular argument they will make, and they will be free. But they know the dirty job they have done that is upsetting the peace of Rivers State. You see, the case they gave ruling on, they will tell you it was filed maybe far back 2023. And then they gave the order that Martin Amefule and Co. should return to legislative duties. They gave 2 reasons. Number 1, they accused the governor of an illegal exclusion of some lawmakers. the governor deliberately selected the people he will work with. That idea must have been passed across to them by one highly placed politician in Abuja, who will always sing like parrot. How can 3 people make law for the state? How can 3 people screen commissioners? How can 3 people do this? It was on the basis of that the Supreme Court took that stand, that there was an illegal exclusion of some lawmakers. That is why they said there was a brazen subversion of the democratic government of Rivers State. There was an excessive use of an executive power, which is an act of gross indiscipline. These were not the views canvassed on the floor of the Supreme Court complex. No. This is something maybe in the dead of the night that idea was passed across and they captured it. You can see one River State elder statesman who told you the same way the president just confronted Fubara and was attacking him. This is undemocratic, and you did this, you did that. That is the same way Supreme Court followed that pattern. The same thing the president said, that was the same thing Supreme Court justices were also rolling out. As if the case was between them and Fubara. But to God be the glory. The Supreme Court said something so important. Remember, the case before them was not to determine whether these people have defected or not. And they are acting on the ground that this case came before defection. They are acting on the ground that they are not even aware of anything called defection. That was why they said there is no evidence of defection. They are still acting on 2023 position of the lawmakers. They are pretending to be ignorant of all that has happened in Rivers State for the past 1 year. But they made a striking statement, which the Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice will now work on. They said, it is only the House that can declare the seat of a lawmaker vacant, not the governor. Nobody can illegally exclude certain lawmakers from carrying out their legislative duty. It was on that ground that they said, go back and resume legislative duty, because they were accusing the governor of illegally excluding these lawmakers from carrying out their legislative duties. What is God saying the Commissioner for Justice should do now? The Commissioner for Justice should quickly go to any judge of the State High Court, any High Court judge within Rivers State. Don't go to Federal High Court. It will take time. It's a waste of time. Any High Court judge in Rivers State can, in a matter of hours, bring peace, lasting peace to Rivers State. What is he going to do? In line with the Supreme Court ruling that says only the House can declare a seat vacant, the Commissioner, the Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice Rivers State is to present to a State High Court judge evidence of the declaration of the seat of these lawmakers vacant by the Speaker here. Channel Television covered it live. Other media platforms reported it. There is no controversy about it. That the Speaker declared their seat vacant. You see, it is not a lawmaker that defected that will declare his own seat vacant. That's not what the Constitution says. The moment a lawmaker defects, that seat is vacant. Those who have not defected are the lawmakers recognized by the Constitution. They are the ones that elected their own speaker, and the speaker, in compliance to the provision of the constitution, declared the seat of Martin Lamefule and his other conspirators, their seats were declared vacant. Take this evidence of the declaration of the seat of Martin Lamefule and go vacant to a high court judge. Let him examine it, and he will then say, having been satisfied that this seat was declared vacant, in compliance to the decision of the Supreme Court that only the House can declare a seat vacant, I hereby order that these lawmakers whose seats have been declared vacant should henceforth no longer carry out any legislative duty in compliance to the decision of the Supreme Court, since their seats were declared vacant by the House. The Supreme Court said it is not the court that will declare the seat vacant. No individual except the House. And since the judge is convinced that the House declared the seat vacant, in line with the order of the Supreme Court, that seat is vacant. Consequently, these lawmakers should not carry out any legislative duty in line with the Supreme Court decision, and this order takes immediate effect. They will not carry out any legislative duty until a superior court set aside this order. That's it. Every activity of Martin Lamefule and Co. will become illegal. The Supreme Court order was made on the ground that, as at the time the case was filed, these people have not defected. So they are deliberately accusing the governor of excluding them from carrying out the legislative duty. The Supreme Court never considered the fact that these people defected. And there was a time their seats were declared vacant. These are the gaps in their decision. So on the basis of these gaps, the Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice will now get a court order that said, in compliance to the same Supreme Court decision that said only the House can declare the seat vacant. And since the House declared the seat vacant, the seat remains vacant. And they should not carry out legislative duties.
Illegal provisions regarding the procedure for local government elections, which the Court of Appeal in the same case extensively dealt with. Also, the court granted all reliefs, that is the Supreme Court, based on affidavit evidence alone, without addressing legal interpretations thoroughly. What we call gap was because they made comments on defection, and were not too sure whether they actually considered any appeal or cross-appeal on the defection. So that as of the time of writing, they cannot say that 27 members are not members of the Assembly. So other issues may still come out from that case from other litigation, but that is what we call the gap. The gap is that, why did you make that comment? Did you make a final pronouncement on that particular issue or not?
The Supreme Court was not aware. They will claim ignorance that the seats were declared vacant by the House. It's the Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice that will now go to court. And the court will say, oh, that is true. Supreme Court said only the House can declare the seat vacant. And since the House did that, you people should stop carrying out legislative duty. Let them now go to appeal court to set aside the order of the High Court. That High Court order is made in compliance to the Supreme Court decision. So it is not a counter order that is challenging the Supreme Court. No, it's not challenging the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court said only the House can declare the seat vacant. The Supreme Court judges, they are not spirits. They are not aware that there was a time the seat was declared vacant by the House. Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice go and tell the court, in compliance to the ruling of the Supreme Court, look, the House declared the seat vacant. And so the Supreme Court said, if the House declared the seat vacant, the seat is vacant. You don't need to wait for the court. That's what the Supreme Court said. You can see it from media report. So, Rivers State will have peace. And when they go for appeal, there is no court in the land that will challenge the declaration of their seat vacant. No court in the land will do it. It's a question of, oh, the seat was declared vacant. You see, when they got the Supreme Court to quickly rush out these things, these gaps, they did it to see how they can close any legal action on the basis of their defection. But use the same Supreme Court decision and go to court. Let a High Court judge make an order immediately. It can be made in 3 hours. So you have obtained the order. Let them go and set it aside at the appeal court, which is not possible. They cannot get to Supreme Court and set it aside. It is not possible. Because the Supreme Court will now see there was a time the seats were declared vacant. If those seats were declared vacant, and the Supreme Court said only the House can declare the seat vacant, the condition have been met. That's what the Constitution said. So what's the problem then? The seat is vacant, and they are no longer lawmakers. Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Rivers State, step out and do this in a matter of hours, and the crisis in Rivers State will be over forever. They will never recover from this. That is a winning joker. Take it now. If you love God and you believe in peace, please, heaven is watching to see what you will do. Share this video. Share this video so that the commissioner and the Commissioner for Justice in Rivers State will take action on this immediately. The Supreme Court were clear that if the House declared the seat vacant, the seat is vacant. They are not aware that there was a time Martins, Amebul and Co., their seat were declared vacant. Let it be proved before a High Court, and that High Court will immediately order them to stop legislative duties in compliance to the Supreme Court decision. This is the winning joker, and Rivers State will have peace. Rivers State will be delivered from state capture. Can we begin to act now? God will bless you if you obey Him to share this video. And also, may He please you to subscribe to this channel.